It was 10 years ago. When I started playing chess with Vika, she blew my mind completely. Vika's always been very active, emotional, extremely smart, and so unpredictable. She would jump into the water in the middle of winter or attack someone during our classes. She's never been easy, but I've never given up. Well, she forced me to become the queen of Gambit, because my thinking must be faster than hers to avoid many dangerous situations. Vika is a dog, but I could also call her a Tasmanian devil. When she was a puppy, her behavior was unbearable. I was crying a lot because of her. It was so depressing, especially when she was aggressive towards other dogs. I still remember when she beat my little sister because her dog stood next to her. Vika pushed me out of my comfort zone. But thanks to her, I met amazing people who helped me. And now, here I am, a person who's been learning about dogs for the last 12 years. I've observed hundreds of them, how they function in our society, how people treat them, and what they can teach us. Now, it's me who helps others. So, why do I care about that? Just think about it. Dogs are the most common animals kept around across the globe for the last dozens of thousands of years. I'm sure that everyone here has met a dog. Even if you're not the owner, they're around, at parks, in the streets. Maybe your friend or family has one. And yet, we still know so little about them. Sit, stay, leave it, come. Probably some of you think that working with dogs is only about training them how to take orders, but nothing could be more wrong. In fact, training means understanding and respecting the needs of an animal, not just commanding. Imagine that you're calling a kid for dinner while he's playing computer game. Almost impossible at the beginning, am I right? Same thing happens when your pup is exploring some interestingly smelling bushes. It's quite hard for him to resign from this compelling activity. What I do is translate the dog's behavior to our human language. And the exciting thing about language is that it has an impact on our perception. Let's take Max. He's pulling on the leash. Probably you would label him just as stubborn, impolite, but imagine that you are him. You're attached to a leash. You can't do what you'd like to do. Wouldn't you try to free yourself? We also feel bad when we are not understood and limited by restrictions. Anger, fear, frustration. These emotions, which we know from the lockdown situation, can be also the reason of Max's behavior. Can you imagine living in constant pain and pretending that everything is okay? Tigan was. But she didn't want to be touched. I don't know how many times she beat her owner's hands because of that. Tegan's human consulted many doctors, behaviorists, and even a dog psychiatrist before she realized that her dog was misbehaving because she was suffering. There is no such thing as a bad dog. The thing is that we mostly base our knowledge on superficial beliefs. Your friend told you something about your dog. Your neighbor complains about him almost every day. We can say the same about children, who, by the way, are very similar to dogs. Even scientists use identical methods to study the minds and behavior of both children and dogs. Somebody once said that children don't cry to manipulate, impose, or whatever. And the same goes for dogs. They are not born to dominate us. This dominance theory has been busted by science. I don't know what's going on, but I'm so stressed, says Max during the so-called traditional training. Jerked on a leash, pushed down to make him sit, lay, or whatever. These kinds of old-fashioned practices lead to physical and mental pain, and usually they produce more problems. For example, neck injuries, fear of the owner, or just general anxiety. What's more, these are not efficient and ethical training methods. Were you able to remember anything where you were stressed at school? No? I'm wondering why. Research says the higher the level of stress, the lower the learning abilities. I'm showing you how bad I feel when you're too close. It could be another one of Max's thoughts. You can find many silly movies and pictures on the internet where animals suffer but are considered as cute or funny. There's nothing funny in cuddling a dog, growling and showing its teeth. He's not smiling. He doesn't feel safe because you're crossing his boundaries, and this can lead to a tragedy. Every year, there are worldwide tens of millions of accidents that a dog bites someone. How can we avoid that? Ask yourself, why? Why doesn't your dog want to be touched? Why doesn't your dog listen to you? The universal answer lies in the relationship. Would you like to learn from someone you don't trust at all? From someone who crosses your boundaries? Someone who shows who's the boss and doesn't respect you? Probably not. Neither does your dog. Answer yourself how you would like to be treated. The most important thing, know your dog. He talks to you. Just observe his signals. If he's showing you his teeth, move away. If she starts to bark, check your surroundings. Maybe she noticed something you don't see or smell. If she doesn't listen to you, check your own emotions, because dogs are like reflections of ourselves. For example, when you're angry, they don't want to cooperate. If he misbehaves, instead of punishing him, get him out of a situation and think out what to do next time to help him in coping with emotions. Remember about rewarding even the smallest successes. Make sure that your pupil is able to focus on your request. I mean, that is ready for training mentally. Divide a task into easier steps. Just keep it simple. Building trust is a process, but it's absolutely worth it. Our thinking must be fast enough to be able to play chess with our dogs, exactly like in the case of myself and Vika. Sounds like too much effort? Well, it comes with responsibility for both of us, other human beings, and our pets. I have a dream. In my dream, the basic psychology classes are at schools from the early stages to teach us how to cope with emotions, describe them, understand behavior, be compassionate, and more curious about what's going on inside the mind. If we know how to communicate with ourselves and each other, we'll gain the huge power to live a better life with real strong bonds, without hurting our beloved. And actually, it doesn't matter if it's a dog or child, because we all are animals.